I just want to be fun. Like, I'm not fun. As a guy, I'm not a fun guy. I want to be so bad. I'll see people having fun and be like, that looks dope. And I'll tell you this, there's nothing less fun than catching somebody watch you have fun. Because that happens to me all the time. There are times where I'm standing to the side and I'm watching somebody have fun. And no matter what you're doing that's fun, if you catch somebody watching you have fun, you stop. You stop immediately what you're doing. You'll be having fun, whether you're dancing, you be riding go-karts, whatever. And then if you just see someone off to the side like me, like, yeah. You look like you're having a good time. You were immediately not having a good time. It's the worst. It's so bad. I hate it. I don't like being the one to do. I didn't know that when you at a party and people are dancing and you are not dancing, you watching them dance. I didn't know you're supposed to move your head to the rhythm. I didn't know you're supposed to move your head to the rhythm side to side. I didn't know that's what we were doing. Like when people are dancing and they're over there, you're like, yeah, I didn't know it was that. I've done two very off things. One, I didn't know I was supposed to move my head if I was watching people dance, and I was supposed to move my head to the beat. So one time there were these people dancing, and then they caught me watching them have fun, but I was being completely still. And that is also heroin. You know what I mean? Like, you really getting it, and then somebody off to the side against the wall is like, yeah. Keep doing that. It's very upsetting, you know? And like I said, I didn't know we were supposed to move our head side to side. So then there was another time I was like, okay, I'm supposed to move my head to the beat. So then I was moving my head to the beat, but I was going back and forth. And that is also unsettling to watch. You're dancing and somebody's like, yeah, to the rhythm, yes. Yeah, get it, get it. I just want to be fun. I want to be fun. Like, Brazilians are very fun. Brazilians as a people, they have incredible music, beautiful dancing, they're beautiful people and they know how to have fun. I read about a guy who was so fun. This guy partied for 4 days straight. 4 full days of party. He partied from New Year's Eve well into the new year. So first and then 3 days. He partied for 4 days straight without realizing he had been shot in the head. That's a fun guy. That's a very, very fun individual, you know? This dude got shot in the head and went to more parties and was more fun. If I get shot, I don't know about y'all, but if I get shot in the head, I die, all right? Maybe that's just how I was raised, but like, I don't get shot in the head and keep carrying on twerking. I go to another plane where the mortal coil cannot follow, all right? This dude got shot in the head and went to more parties and was progressively more fun per party. If I get shot in the head, that is everybody's problem. I'll tell you that right now. If I got shot in the head tonight, we are all going to the hospital. Please believe me. And I will be calling out individuals if I see you trying to peel off. I'm like, no, Cindy, I need you. This man was shot in the head. And we don't even know the circumstances of him getting shot in the head. I was reading about it. Nobody knows this. Okay, I came up with some theories because no one knew. I think that maybe, you know how guys can be at a party, you're out here dancing or you're walking with your drink, somebody bumps into you, doesn't apologize. Now we have a problem, right? So now you get nose to nose trying to get them to apologize. Then you get loud and everybody's watching. And then you get like fully, you know, like when dudes do this, like this full on in my face, our noses are touching. This is always weird. Anytime I see this, I'm like, y'all should just kiss. It would make more sense if you kiss right now. Because this is the thing. If he's here and I'm here, he could still really, he could choke me, he could do anything, right? Like, this is real fighting could happen right here. Here, you're a little too close. Here, there really isn't anything you would punch us if you punch me right now. And so maybe, they got into it. They got nose to nose or whatever. They were ready to fight. And then maybe this dude was like, what you gonna do? What you gonna do has got more people killed than any other sentence in language. It goes, what you gonna do, followed closely by, I wouldn't take that if I was you. It's like, those two are deadly, right? So then maybe he goes, what you gonna do? And then the other guy pulls out a gun and shot him in the head. And then he went, rude. And then walked about his business, because clearly it didn't matter. He had been shot in the head. The head is where they keep all the brains. I don't know how this man was shot in his head and didn't know. I mean, look, what I think actually happened is that he was probably getting twerked on. Twerking is very distracting. If you're getting twerked on by the right person, you won't notice anything else happening in the room. He was probably like, girl, you getting it. Oh my God, you really getting it. You really getting it. Don't worry about that. This was a loud noise, baby girl. Keep doing what you doing. No, it's wild. They asked him at the hospital. When he finally went to the hospital, they were like, you've clearly been shot in the head. What did you think happened? And he was like, oh, I thought I got hit in the head with a rock. That's the most shot in the head thing to say I've ever heard in my entire. You know, like when you at a party and you having a good time and everybody just starts throwing rocks? You know that common occurrence that happens at every party where everybody's having fun, we're all dancing, and then that one guy goes, pebbles for everybody. You know that thing that happens all the time to each and every one of us. Thought you got hit in the head with a rock. What? Only reason he went to the hospital is that his arm was spasmic. But he didn't even go right away. He was probably getting twerked on in the moment. It was like, girl, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing, girl. You're really getting it. Oh my God. That's amazing. Everything you're doing is great. They finally stopped dancing after like a day. I don't know. And then she was like, where do you live? Let's go back to your place. He was like, girl, I live over there. And she was like, where? He's like, I'm pointing right at it, girl. She's like, what's wrong with your arm? He's like, oh, this has been happening for 3 days, girl. I saw this video of this guy who was at a white guy in Alabama that was at a Bass Pro Shop. So far, whole story checks out, right? So far, nothing is out of the ordinary, right? And this dude is very much on drugs. I don't know what drugs, but I know drugs, right? He's on drugs. Now, the story starts in the parking lot. He drives up to the Bass Pro Shop, and he immediately drives his car into a light pole at the Bass Pro Shop in the parking lot, and then he backs up and does it 8 more times, chops it down like a tree, right? And then he gets out and walks in the Bass Pro Shop. So you already know my man is ready to play. And so walks in the Bass Pro Shop. The video starts where it starts, so I don't know what happened in between. I don't know when he got naked. All I know is this dude. The video starts with this dude, and he just been doing cannonballs into the Bass Pro Shop fish tank. So these fish are all compromised, all right? So he is doing naked cannonballs over and over again. He getting deep, and I'd like to think they called the police when he got naked, but maybe they didn't. Maybe they were like, let's see what he does. And so my man is just climbing up, dunking, and then you can tell he's on drugs because he's speaking drugs, right? Because then in the video, he swims to the front of the tank and he's like, and when I heard that, I was like, that's drugs. That's not the native tongue of any land. And so the police come. So now we're going to switch for a second from people recording him on their phones to the police body cam, right? So police show up. They see him in the fish tank, and they see him. And he waved to them. It's not really phased. And so then they are trying to figure out how he got up there. So then they go ahead and they start climbing up some of the rocks, right? So then they turn, police body cam. They turn, and when they turn to him, in the tank. He's gone. And so you're like, okay, he on drugs, but is he magic? Because that's a different situation. Can you imagine if a magician is on drugs? David Blaine already like that. Imagine David Blaine on drugs. That'd be a problem. Make you feel like you on drugs. And so then he's gone. He's gone because even though he's on drugs, he had the presence of mind that, hey, that's the police. They probably won't talk to me. And so then he jumped out of the tank. But the tank is like 18 feet high, right? So this man naked jumped out of the tank just onto the ground and he landed Family Guy style, right? So this dude has knocked himself out on the ground, right? And he laying over here like this, like he just fully passed out. And you can even hear a cop through another cop's body cam turn and he's not there, and then they see him on the ground and you hear another cop go, oh shit. They come down. Now this man is like fully out, right? But he is on drugs. And so the drugs do wake him up just in time because now the cops are over him, right? I don't know if they had actually grabbed his wrist yet or anything, but this dude immediately wakes up on drugs, flips over, and kicks one of the cops in the balls, right? So that cop goes down. I don't know the code for it, but he's not getting back up for a minute, okay? And now the cops are all have bent knees because they're like, okay, we got a live one here. Like, he got a lot of fight in him, right? And I almost never feel bad for the police, but in this instance, I'm not gonna lie, I feel pretty bad for those officers because they try to catch a dude who is on drugs and naked and wet, so he is very hard to catch. Basically impossible. Because every time they grab this man, he over here like, no, no, thank you. Oh, no. No jail for me, no. And he's slippery as a fish, so they really can't get a hold of him. No, no, jail doesn't feel nice. No, I don't want it. It is horrible, because then there's really nothing to grab. And I'm telling you, because he was naked in the tank and we saw it, there's nothing to grab, right? So they are fighting to catch this dude. They finally get a hold of him because I think they just been drying him off this whole time. You know what I mean? Through the entire scuffle. And they finally get him handcuffed and they're walking him out. And as they're walking about, this is back on people's phones now. As they're walking about, he walking past people who've been recording him on their phones and he's going, Now this next part is not on camera. I had to read about this. They take him outside, they put him in the back of the cop car, and this is the first time where even though he is on drugs, he's not having a good time. Because now he in the back of the cop car going, this feels unfair. And then on drugs, he starts kicking the door, and because he's on drugs, even though he got a naked, wet foot, he is so strong that he is kicking the car door so hard, he is warping the metal, right? And I saw that, and I was like, he must kick that cop's dick off. Like, that's horrible. Police had to come out and make a statement the next day where they were like, we hope that his actions on camera will lead to better decisions in the future. Also, we expect Officer Ortiz to make a full recovery. I try to be a good friend to my friends with anxiety, because I have anxiety too, but like, it's hard to really be there for someone with anxiety because they're right. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you ever really listen to an anxious person talk, they're making some very salient points. Like, their points are actually so good, it's starting to jack up my anxiety because I was like, fuck, I didn't think about that. Oh no! That's the worst. I'll tell you this, one time One time a friend called me. And he was not doing well at all. And he was telling me how he wanted to, end it and everything. And then just started describing to me everything that was wrong in his life. And as I listened to my friend, I realized that we had the same life. And I'd be lying if I said I'd get a little defensive. Because he over here telling me, he's like, I can't do it anymore. I'm a grown man eating TV dinners every night. And I'm like, well, baby, you doing your best, all right? It's like I'm doing open mics every night to a bunch of people who just feel like I'm bothering them while they try to watch the game. I'm like, well, maybe you gonna get better one day. It's weird how much anxiety there is over the election. Like truly nobody's happy. Like everybody's like, You didn't feel how it got in here? Everybody was like bummed out. It's odd, right? Because it's like a rematch nobody wanted. It feels really, really crazy. That's why, if I'm being honest with you, I try to think a lot about how to solve big problems, right? And I'm not a doctor. I'm not an engineer. I'm not even helpful, all right? But I think about how to solve big problems. And I think that in this scenario, and I want to be clear where I'm coming from. I'm not like, I mean this across the board, I grew up in Louisiana. I lived in Chicago. I live in New York now. I travel around the country. I'm not just speaking with like some partisan idea in mind. I'm saying I think that for this election, and just this one, right? For this one election, that the presidential race should be a race. Because no matter who wins, I think we will be more astonished than upset. You know what I mean? Like, no matter who wins, we're gonna be like, I didn't know he had it in him. That's wild. I've been watching the newest season of Love is Blind with my girl. This is the thing about that show, right? I think the show is, in theory, a good idea, right? What if by chance we got out of our own way, right? Because most of dating is swipes now. Like a good portion of how people meet is dwarfed. Online dwarfs every other version of meeting. Like meeting at a bar, meeting at work, all that stuff like that. Meeting online is way, way bigger. So a big part of how we feel about each other and how we feel about ourselves when it comes to dating is completely and totally dictated by bots. I know we don't think it's bots, but it is. Like, most of these platforms are flooded with bots because if they can keep you on the platform, they keep your money, right? So better to have a couple bots entertain you and waste your time for a little bit so you think that something's going somewhere while maybe you work it out with a real person or maybe not. But either way, we've got your money. It's like a gym membership, right? You ever try to cancel a gym membership? I remember I had a gym membership. That's one of the few things that seems obscure that like Biden was trying to get on that I was really excited about. Because the Biden administration was basically like anything that took your credit card for you to start the membership should be just as easy to get out of, just as easy to opt out of, right? Because there are some things that aren't. There were a lot of gyms back in the day where you could go up there and sign up that day, all right? and then be like, okay, I'm a member of this gym and I'll buy 5 months outright because you're doing 2 months free or whatever. So I'll be a member for 7 months. That's most of the year. I gotta get sexy by then. And so you do this like 5-month fee, and maybe you do it in one lump sum, or maybe they keep charging your card every month at some discount or whatever. But then at month 6, you're like, it's not working. I keep coming once a week and pushing 3 things, and nothing is changing. I don't think I'm gonna get sexy on the right timeline. And I want to be a member of this gym for 40 years, so you know what? I'm gonna cancel it. I'm gonna cancel my membership. And so then you go there, and this happened to me. You go to the gym, and you're like, I would like to cancel my membership. And at first they try to fight you. First they're like, no, you were just getting sexy, dog. We all noticed it. There was one day we were changing the towels, and we're like, damn, I remember when he came in January. It's March. What a difference. And I'm like, I'm flattered, but I don't feel very sexy. And the scale says I weigh the same. So I'd like to cancel my membership. And they're like, dang, dog, I'm sorry to hear that. I really am. You know, we love having you around and everything. And like, you know, it's just your presence lights this place up. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we see you, dog. We see you when you struggling, when you struggling to do that like clean and snatch. You know what I mean? When you got the bar here and you trying to Whenever you're doing this, we laugh. It's such a great day. We gonna miss you, man. You sure you want to do this? Yeah, I gotta do it. I gotta end my membership. And they're like, okay, all right. Well, it's a shame because you can't end your membership here. And I'm like, what? Like, yeah, we don't do that here. I'm like, what do you mean? This is where I came to start my membership. This is where I exercised my membership. How can I not end my membership? No, there's a whole process and everything, you know. So basically, you gotta write a letter saying like how you're not sexy and stuff, and then you gotta mail that letter. Okay, you gotta mail that letter to our headquarters. Our headquarters will then let us know. And also, you can't just mail it to the headquarters. You also have to call in and be like, guys, I don't want to be sexy anymore. And then you have to call before your letter gets to the headquarters, because if it gets there first, it sort of invalidates your call. So you have to make sure you call, and it's best to call while the person at HR at headquarters is holding your letter. I know you won't have any idea when that is, but try. Just call a lot, call consistently until maybe you call and they're holding it and they're like, oh, is this you? Yes, it's me. I would like to never be sexy. And so then what they'll do is they'll call us, and we still won't cancel it. We'll just know that you're a quitter. And so then after they call us, we will call the department, which is a third party that actually handles our memberships, and tell them to take you off of the mailing list, just the mailing list. But eventually, once you've been off the mailing list for long enough, we'll stop charging your card. This seems like it should be illegal. Because it's a process that sounds like it's going to take years. There was such a long process, and then they said I was no longer a member. I had stopped going, and then I saw where they still charged me. I called them, and that called them at the gym, and they were like, no, you got to call headquarters. So I called headquarters, and I waited, and you know, then someone finally got on the line being like, hey, I was about to take my break. Because the whole plan there is just to frustrate you so much so that you end up keeping it. Because what they want you to do is to like still have it, and it's so hard to get rid of that eventually you go one day, and as soon as you go, you've basically like renewed your membership and everything. They just want any way possible to squeeze as much money out of the people that are going, right? And so that's one of the things that Biden was like, oh, we gotta stop this, you gotta make it like clickable. You know what I mean? You gotta make it just so that, did you click to start the membership? You should click to end the membership. It's like, wow, what a novel concept. You know what I mean? Like that's the type of thinking that comes from a man who doesn't have a lot of time to mess around. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, let's get right to it, you know? But that's what the dating platforms do. They just don't want you to cancel, right? And they come up with tiers. They come up with little systems to get extra money out of you. Super swipes, double super swipes, thirst trap swipe. All these little ways that maybe you can like find someone. And even when you find someone, you're not finding someone. You're just allowed to start a conversation now. You know? And so what if we got out of our own way? What if that really happened? Where people who genuinely wanted to find someone and didn't want to have any barriers on them, any sort of expectations or even some of their own preferences, right? Just wanted to get to know a person just as they are, right? We're just going to talk. And what if we talked for so long, so many times, that we covered the amount of talking that it usually takes people in the real world months to cover? Because you know what it's like. You go on that first date. That first date is all surface level, if it's even true. You know? It's like I try to be myself. I want everybody to feel comfortable being themselves. But as long as we're lying, we're lying. You know what I mean? If you're going to lie, I got to lie. I can't just show up being vulnerable and then you lie and then I look like a monster. So yeah, if you're going to lie, then I got to lie, you know? You're going to lie about the degree you have. I got to lie about having a job. I just got to make sure that we fit each other's, each other's lies. And then you get to the truth. And sometimes truth is very disappointing because sometimes, whether it's your fault or of no fault of your own, you've built up an idea of who a person is. And that idea of who they are sometimes trumps the person that you see in front of you. So then you see the real person after when you can't do it anymore. You know what I mean? One of the things the police used to do back when everybody was writing checks and check fraud was like this big thing because people like con artists would get really talented at copying somebody's signature. When they thought that somebody might be one of these people, what they would do is they'd have them write something, but they wouldn't just have them write it once. Because you can pretend to be someone else one time, 2 times, 3 times. They would have somebody, almost like when you got punished in school, they had to write the thing 50 times. And over time, you could see whether the person was bored or they just started getting in their head. Eventually, their true handwriting would show. You know? And that's what we do when we get to know a person. After 3 months, you're like, look. There's a lot I didn't tell you about because I want you to stay. You ever been dating somebody and then 2 months and you're like, who is this person? It's like, no, this person is the person. I don't know. Sorry, you aren't dating who you thought. You know? And so then you get all this talking. You get all this like genuine quality time together, right? And I like this person. And so maybe this is my person, right? And how long would it take if all we did was talk, if all we did was really get to know each other? How long would it really take for us to fall in love with a person? Probably as long as production allows, you know what I mean? But like, but still, you see these people on this show, and within 9 days of being on the show and being in the pods, they're talking about I love you to this person that they've never seen, that they've never met, but they've talked so much. And a part of you thinks this person's dumb, this person's crazy. I don't think they are. I think if you got to do a deep dive into a person, you could find whether or not you like really loved everything about this person, how their mind works, their sense of humor, all the little push and pull that the relationship has, you know? And then they do the reveal, which is usually where things go awry. Because it's hard to get out of your own way and it's hard to change your nature, especially in 9 days, right? And so then sometimes they do this reveal. If you never watched the show, they're in the pods and they chat and they chat and they chat, and then people are picking each other as they're chatting. And you're really picking off a personality. You don't know what this person is like. You know, sometimes you're watching the show and you're like, these two look like they would go together in the real world, and they're not picking each other now. That's so interesting, right? Then they do the reveal. The reveal is like they're across a hallway with this carpet and the doors open and they see each other for the first time. And, you know, a lot of times it goes great. They get really excited. Oh, I happen to be in love with a person who happens to be beautiful. What a bonus. And then sometimes sometimes you can tell, you can see it on the person that they're like, ooh. I am not blind. Because you got to understand, whether you've watched the show or not, it must be a lot. It must be a lot to like have someone talking to you the way that they talk to each other. They are talking to each other the way that we imagine our great-grandparents talk to each other. Like before devices got involved, right? When you really had to miss someone and you really got to know them and you didn't even know that many people. You know? Your great-great-grandparents might have only known 200 people in life, and they pick one of those people, so you're not even doing the same comparison stuff we do. We're spoiled for choice, or at least the illusion of choice, because we're like, no, I could get anybody. It's what you think, because then you match with them, and you're like, damn, okay. You know, and it's tough, because dudes are the ones that fall for bots the most. We really are. Like, we get botted hard. Our friends will tell us it's a bot, and we'll be like, maybe. Maybe. Or maybe she's just into me. Maybe y'all just can't handle it. It's like, she keeps asking for your social security number. And for you to send her money through PayPal. Maybe she's going through a rough time, dog. I don't know. You ever thought of that? You ever thought about sometimes beautiful people are down on their luck? Because we all know it's beautiful people who never get anything for free. You know? But yeah, you see it. You see it on them, right? Because they were talking to each other so wild. I love you. They propose before they're allowed to see each other. You know what I mean? They propose in the pods. You propose to this idea of a person, someone that you think that you could love for the rest of your life, right? And they are talking to each other the way our great-great-grandparents talked to. I'm talking about Civil War love letter talking to each other. You know those old Civil War letters? You ever read some of them? Oh, it's astounding. Dear Jebediah. I miss you terribly, and I can't wait to once again feel the brush of your long beard upon my face. I hope and pray for the day that I see you on the horizon and know that you are home for good. Love, Magnolia. Like they used to be named after flowers back then for no reason. There's a bunch of roses and magnolias and tulips and stuff. And sometimes, you know, I've read some of these letters and I've watched documentaries about, you know, people that they've honed in on that we know the most about and everything. Sometimes those letters got nasty. Every once in a while, those letters... My dearest Magnolia. This war is a burden upon my soul. What keeps my fire alight is thinking of your warm embrace. I shudder to think if this letter is read by anybody but its intended. But know that your beloved keeps your handkerchief close by at all times. Your dearest Jebediah. With the long D. No, it's tough because they've said so many things to each other in these pods. They seem to mean them, right? Because that's the other thing you can suss out a little bit more. When you're not swayed by someone's looks, what they just say, what does that mean? And you can really talk the thing out, whatever it is, right? And they see each other, and sometimes it goes well, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes this engagement falls apart right after, soon after. Sometimes they, say no. I can't marry you, right? Watching this season, I don't know. Everything I'm saying applies to the entirety of the idea. So it's not about any one person or group or season. It's just like that idea, like what happens if we get out of our own way, But it's also hard because this is my thing about that show, is that by and large, every season of it I've seen, they are picking pretty good looking people. Do you know what I mean? Like they're picking people who these are gorgeous people, right? They have yet to pick someone that I'm really like, Is nobody gonna tell them? Do you know what I mean? I just want, this is where I lose you, okay. I just want there to be like one season, because what happens is, and they've like done whole surveys, studies, they've interviewed people who've studied relationships, have talked about this stuff for a very long time, right? I'm not just saying, oh, trust me, it's science. I'm saying like you can look it up for yourself. When it comes to like long-term relationships, right? Relationships that are supposed to last to the end of your life, let's say you get married in your 30s, right? That they found that like women are, by and large, better partners to have, right? And it's because of the things that nurture a relationship are the things that women are usually the ones doing, right? Not saying there aren't great boyfriends and husbands out there. I'm just saying that like usually what upholds and keeps a relationship going is like some of the action, some of the planning, some of the thinking of the women in those relationships, okay? And this isn't to paint anyone as an angel either. I know relationships end for all sorts of reasons. It's just that like we all have our preferences, right? Every single one of us. And I don't necessarily think that that's a bad thing, We all have our preferences. You might want the person that you end up with, no matter who you date, no matter who you love, to at least have like a head. That would be nice. A head would be nice. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not trying to... You would assume they have a head. And then as long as they have a head, there might be things that you like about the face on that head. And then you pick and you pick and you pick and you find the people, whatever. But just sometimes, whenever people are in a noble pursuit, how they get there is not always questioned because the pursuit is noble, right? And so because so many people are trying to find their forever person, the ways in which that they are shallow sometimes don't get addressed as much because the overall pursuit is noble, right? It's much easier to come down on someone who's just like hardcore participating in like hookup culture for being shallow because we can just cast away the whole idea as trashy, right? But when someone's looking for like long-term love and they're being shallow, it's just kind of harder to call them out because they're looking for their forever person anyway, right? So it's just one season of Love is Blind. I would just love if they do the regular show. You can even pick all the good-looking people that you want. That's fine. Just pick all good-looking people. And I want good dudes, by the way. Real good dudes. Like good dudes where you do the research. He volunteers and he donates to the charities and he taking care of somebody sick. Really good dudes, right? But then when they do the reveal, right, and the doors open and they're standing across from each other, I just want every single one, every one of those dudes to be short. That would be great. That would be fire. That would be so good. And I don't mean short as in like 5'8". I don't mean regular height, but calling them short because your friends are tall. I'm talking about cartoonishly short. I want these dudes, I'm talking about the 4'11s of the world. I want these dudes to be so excited and so little that when they're running to their bride, they really got to do that step. You know what I'm talking about? You know when somebody real short, they need the extra steps, and so and she just... And they meet up in the middle. And they propose before they get to see each other. Sometimes they propose again as soon as they meet each other, right? They propose, and since the beginning of the show, she's been saying, I just I just want to find love. Okay. Found him. He go to propose. He ain't got a kneel. No, just really test it. See if his love is blind. Okay. I know I'm getting older now because I've realized that a lot of people that I knew when I was young have passed away because of basic math. Do you know what I mean? Like, there'll just be someone that you're thinking about where you're like, oh man, they were old when I was a kid and I pay bills now, so. Oh yeah, oof. I went to a Catholic school in high school, and there was a priest there that I thought was hilarious. I don't even remember his name. I feel bad about it, but you know, he was dope, and he would do mass because we would have mass before classes and stuff, and he would always forget to turn his mic off. Consistently. I don't even think he knew it had an off button. He would always forget to turn his mic off, and then he would take the sacrament, right, which is a cracker, and then every time he did it with next to his mic, it sounded like he was losing a tooth every week. It was never not hilarious. I remember the first time it happened, I was like, did he crack his soul? Like, what? And you know, I'm not Catholic, but I would sometimes, when we would have a retreat or something, I would go to the confession just to like do it. Do you know what I mean? Because there's a certain power in going to confession when you're not Catholic, because you're gonna tell someone a bunch of stuff they can't tell anybody else. And then they're gonna tell you what to do about it, and you're just gonna nod. Like so I went to confession, and it wasn't as much of a confession because I think he knew I wasn't Catholic, so it was more of a conversation, right? And in the conversation, he said something that stuck with me ever since, where he was like, I don't know. This is him. I don't know if there's a God. But I've read the Bible, and I feel like, God or not, that this is the best way to live my life. I feel like I'm happier, I'm kinder to people. I feel better with this thing than without it. So that's just me, right? And I never heard someone, especially someone like in a church, like of the church, speak so candidly about their beliefs, right? I'd ask people my entire life straight up, hard questions, and sometimes they'd be like, well, you know, God has a plan. But when somebody hits you with, I don't know either, it really stops both of you. I remember the moment he said it, I was like, oh, I hope I didn't break. I hope I didn't break a priest. You gotta go to hell if you break a priest. But he was like, no, I don't know. But I think that even if nothing happens when you die, even if there's no God, by the time I'm gone, I'll be pretty happy about the way that I lived my life. And I thought about that the other day. And I was like, ooh, I was 14. And he was like 84. So I definitely missed a funeral. I definitely. Okay. I don't drive because I'm a terrible driver. Like, I failed my driving test, and I'm out of practice since then. And so I don't drive, but I get driven. I take Ubers and stuff like that. Friends have given me rides and stuff. So I understand the value of gas money. And, you know, it always felt like some classic 90s late night joke to talk about gas prices and if they were high or they're getting so high or whatever. And at least right now, gas, at least in most states, is on the lower side. It's cheaper. It's trending down, actually. It's cheaper than it was last week at the time that I'm saying this, right? Don't quote me years from now. Mr. Moneybags thinks that gas is cheap. It's like, no. I'm saying that as of September 4th, 2024, gas is trending down. It's cheaper than it was last week. It's cheaper than it was a month ago. And it's down from a year ago, right? And I think that because of that, gas stations are maybe hurting a little bit, and they're starting to sell extra stuff that is a bad business model, right? Like extra stuff that shouldn't even be at the gas station. Like, I saw gas station flowers. Fellas, if you ever mess up and you're thinking about what you did and you're on your way home and you're feeling apologetic, but you don't want, you messed up too bad to just text. You can't just be like, I'm sorry, LOL. It's not gonna work. You're like, I gotta make this right? And so you're getting your apology ready in your head, and then, you see that the tank's pretty close to E. You're like, let me be responsible, fill up the family car, right? And then you get to the gas station, you fill up the car, and then you see inside that there are flowers, real flowers, at the gas station. If you walk in and you buy those flowers and you bring them home, she will leave you, all right? Gas station flowers look like an omen. Like, they're just dead enough to be alive. I've never seen anything like it. Like, and for sale of regular price flowers too. There was a bouquet that was in a bucket with a bunch of other bouquets, and I looked and the sign said $9.99 for these very dead. There's no vegetation around. These flowers were clearly shipped in like the back of a fridge or something. Flowers are big. Salads. I'm all for people eating their greens. And I think we should be healthier as a country. But if you buy a gas station salad, you have just used your credit or debit card to pay for E. coli, right? E. coli is supposed to be microscopic, but you can see it on a gas station salad. You can see it tap dancing in there. You can see it waiting to get inside you, excited. Eat me, please. I was at a gas station in Kentucky and saw, for sale apparently, a loose pickle. When I say a loose pickle, I want you to understand I said it right. I was at the gas station. My friend was getting gas. I was going to buy a bottle of water. And as I'm walking towards the fridge with the waters in it, I pass a shelf. The shelf has pickles laid out on the shelf and a price tag right under it. $1.99 for these loose pickles. $1.99 for these loose pickles. They're just on a very dusty shelf. And they were wet. Like, they had pickle juice on them. And it was a mystery I needed to solve. Because in my head, I was like, what could have happened here? Because this was like a mom and pop gas station. It wasn't like a Circle K or, you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like anything like that. It wasn't a Shell or anything. It was just like a regular independent gas station. There's very few now, and I guess I can see why. But this loose pickle is just on the shelf with some other loose pickles, like, but it's wet. And in my head, I was like, this is like either a miracle or the worst business idea I've ever seen in my entire life. Can you imagine someone pitching, look, pickles taste like pickle, all right? Just throw them out there. Don't put them in a jar. Don't let them soak in pickle juice. They're going to taste like pickle no matter what you do, all right? Sure, there's a little dust. That dust is character, okay? But truly what I think happened, because this is like an indie, you know, mom and pop gas station, I think somebody went in there. And don't get me wrong, a person who's out of their mind, they went in there and they were like, hey, let me get the whole jar of pickles, but no pickles. I just want the juice and the jar. And then this mom and pop gas station owner said, rightfully so, excuse me? Sir, I want the jar and the juice, hold the pickles, and I'll pay whatever price you want. And so then this very old man was like, okay. Because what do you charge for that? If somebody says name your price, I would charge like $300. $300 would make me feel comfortable about making a sale to a serial killer, right? I wouldn't even say $300, maybe $500. I think $500 would make me more comfortable about what I had to do while somebody watched. You know what I mean? No, $5,000. $5,000 would be my price, because I would want them to have to pay so much that they couldn't get far, and when I called the police, they wouldn't be. They'd just be one tank of gas away. Loose pickles. And I asked them, I was like, so your pickles over there, what's the deal with that? Because they're just loose on the shelf. And the guy, I'm not even getting, the guy goes, what? I was like, your pickles are loose on the shelf. Because now I'm getting nervous. So your pickles are loose on the shelf. And he's like, what? And he's like cursing under his breath. And then he goes over there to the aisle where I pointed. And he's like, not again! again. And he's like, not again. I was like, wait, so this happened before? Like, you didn't want this to happen? Like, a weird stranger didn't come in here and pay you $5,000 for just the jar and the juice? And this dude explained to me while I bought my bottle of water that a resident weirdo comes in every couple of months and slyly takes all the pickles out of the jar and runs out with the jar and the juice. And he said, this dude said, I have alerted the authorities multiple times. But they say there's nothing that they can do because he's stealing, but it's not like a priced amount. And I was like, may I offer a suggestion? Pickles, $1.99 each. Jar, $5,000. I've had quite a week still trying to distill all of my thoughts and feelings around the presidential debate. Okay. I live in New York, and in New York there are a lot of parks, and in some of those parks, you'll see, it's like an iconic thing about New York, that there'll be somebody playing chess in the park, right? And sometimes they're just two old men playing chess or checkers. Sometimes it's somebody that's like, hey, I'll play anybody, I'm practicing for a tournament. And a lot of times, it's somebody who's playing chess, but they're playing for like money. Like, you put 5 down, I bet you can't beat me, and I'll put 5 down, and we'll see. And then, you know, speed chess as well. They got the clock next to them, bow, bow, right? And I've played before, and I'm not good at chess. And it's crazy how fast you can lose. Sometimes I'll be playing chess in the park, and he'll be like, checkmate, but it sounds like there's no way. Then I'll grab, I have a chess book, and I'll look at the board and look at the book. Like, damn, okay. That wasn't that many moves. I don't know what else I was supposed to do. You know? And I don't know, I feel like watching the election and watching the debate felt a lot like that. It felt like bad chess moves. We've watched a lot of debates that Trump has been in, and we've gone 2 for 2 this year with having remarkably historic debates, both of which were like, whew. You know what I mean? Like, you get done and you're like, whew. Felt like I was up there. And there was a moment in the first debate that was echoed in this debate. There was a moment back when Trump was debating Biden, and I've talked about it before, where there's a second there where Trump looked at Biden, and for a split second, he wasn't trying to be president. He wasn't even trying to debate. He was literally like, hey, He good? Like, no, y'all, stop. Is he good though? It was a different tactic than we've ever seen before from Kamala debating Trump, because she debated him the way that I think a lot of us might debate him. You know? I'm not gonna speak for anybody in here, anybody listening to me. I don't know if you're like a political analyst. I don't know how involved you are with politics, but she debated him the way that I think we debate him sometimes in our heads, which is to be like, what did you just... Because most politicians are not... Hear me out. Most politicians don't behave like people. And when I say that, I want you to understand, I mean, maybe they care about people, maybe they care about getting something good done, maybe they care about forwarding their agenda, but they don't react to things, and they don't behave like people, like just regular people. It's why they feel fake, is because they can't just be like, oh, shit. You see, man? Do you see what I mean? And it's why people from 2015 on have gravitated towards Trump, because he feels like they would react. Like he will say, oh, shit. But then you look at someone like Kamala, and she's a very polished person, very accomplished person. But in that debate, she was having moments that for the first time ever felt like moments that we might have up there. Does that make sense? Like when Trump would debate other Republicans leading up to the nomination, or when Trump would debate Hillary or Biden, there was a sense of like, wait, are you not going to say anything about the thing that he just said just now? Why are you staring forward, acting like what you heard wasn't wrong? Why are you like looking to the moderators to fact check? There's nothing more exhausting than when someone who could be a good player is looking at the ref to be like, help! You know what I mean? You say he's lying right now. Like he just lied now, so say it now. Don't later be like, and then they didn't even help. Do you see what I mean? We've watched it happen. We've watched, he was in those debates. Republicans did not know what to do with this man. He was over there telling Ted Cruz to his face, your wife is ugly. And because Ted Cruz doesn't move like a person, doesn't react like a person, he didn't slap him in his face in that moment. No, Trump has shown that the American people were ready and willing for someone unorthodox. You know how much he would have surged in the polls if he had walked over from his podium and was like, what? And then slapped Trump in his face. I know at least his wife would have liked it. You know? I don't even remember what he said about Marco Rubio. I just remember Marco Rubio looking littler and littler every day. Marco Rubio started showing up. I was like, is he 4'8"? Nobody knew what to do. Journalists didn't know what to do. Journalists were like, but you can't say that about the press. But he did it. What are you gonna do? You know? And so now you watch this debate with Kamala, and we've all heard it and probably said it ourselves, that she baited him a lot, but he bit every time. And this is my thing with that, is that decorum aside, don't you want someone representing you that could maybe let something slide. You know, it's got to be tough to be in the public eye. It's got to be tough to be and feel slighted all the time by lots of people that you meet that you don't know and they hate you. But also, you're here to do a job. You're here to do a job on the highest level. So a lot of people won't like you. No matter who wins as president, there will be people who are very upset. Do you really want someone who could be so easily irked? Kamala said, nobody. Kamala said that people leave his rallies early out of boredom and maybe confusion. I don't remember the other thing she said, but she said people were leaving early. And this is what's so interesting about that. We can talk about how much it's warranted or how much of it he egged on or whatever, but there has not been in a very long time a political figure that is as hated as Trump by a lot of people. So a lot of people have said every type of thing about him. A lot of people have drawn him. Do you know how much you gotta hate somebody to draw them? A lot of people, drawings take time. It's one thing to curse somebody out real quick. It's a totally different thing to No, wait, I'm getting his ass. I'm gonna take a break, but when I get back, he about to get it, all right? So all manner of things have been said to and about him, about himself, about his family, about how he behaves, about how he actually feels, about Americans in America, all of it. But this thing hadn't been said. And it turns out that this was the thing to say. This was the thing. If you're talking about feelings, this was the thing. And look, as someone raised by black women, don't. Black women know how to hurt feelings. Only a black woman would be like, no, go to his little rally and see him. That's how confident she was in what she was saying, that she told us to go. She was like, look, I'm gonna do something I wouldn't normally do. Go ahead and go. You'll leave early, don't worry. That was the thing. That was the thing. And you could see it happen. You could see it, on his face, you could see it happen. This dude who has held the highest office has been called a traitor. He's been called a Russian asset. He's been called all manner of things, but this was the thing. And it's because deep down at his core, even his supporters will admit that deep down at the base of who he is, Trump is an entertainer. And all I'm saying is, as a fellow entertainer, if someone had said, Josh, people leave your shows early, out of boredom and confusion, I'd be like, oh, okay, we fighting, say less. this was the thing. That was the thing that like broke through this weird armor, because I've noticed that Trump specifically has a thing that has always kind of existed in politics, but has never existed to this degree, right? Where Trump has a filter created by his base, by the people who like him, love him, and everything, that he can say whatever he wants, but they will distill it for him for the rest of us. He'll say whatever, and then they will be like, what he meant was... But what he meant shouldn't have been what he said. Because he said this, and you're saying he meant something else, but he also had access to the words you just said. So are you sure he meant what you're saying and not what he said? I'd like to think that when you say something as the commander-in-chief, you mean what you said when you said it. You didn't say something being like, they'll figure it out. And because he has that filter, because that sort of buffer exists between him and like sound arguments and logic, I don't even mean that as like a diss. I literally mean he could say something and then it could spin out past something that he meant for real, right? Because as an example, that's like Trump's vaccine. I know we forget that, and I've talked about it before, but that's like, as far as presidents go, as far as you getting credit for the things you do while you're president, that's Trump's vaccine. But when he tried to say, guys, we did it, we have a vaccine, and his audience booed, he realized what it's like. Oh, I don't necessarily control what goes out, even though I said it. I said you should get vaccinated, and then they booed me. So clearly, it's not like a one-to-one. What I say is not, it won't be exactly what they do. So now I'm also trying to figure out how to like keep them on my side, but win them over, but lead them. I think in that moment you saw him get really worried and confused, and he immediately backtracked. He was like, or don't. And I said all of that to say that the screen, the buffer, the thing that he usually has, I'm not saying he lost it for good in this debate, but he did lose it a little bit. Because I grew up in Louisiana, and I know people who are like hardcore in the MAGA movement, like people who are like, no, Trump is the guy, he is gonna fix everything, right? I've grown up with these people, and we know each other well, and this was the first time that they were like, that wasn't great. Because even in debates against Hillary, they were like, no, okay, he said the thing, and I know it's a good soundbite for you liberals, but like, this is what he meant. And the thing that they're saying he meant, which is what they heard, which is what they decided to hear, is a reasonable thing when they start saying it from their mouths. So now I'm like, oh, okay, if that's what you think, that's what he said, then I can see why you're still like really gung-ho while I'm more put off by what he said, you know? But this was the first time that there was almost like a shared language. There was like a shared reality around like, what's happening to him right now? And he started to spiral, and he said, hey, look, they asked him a question. I can't remember if it was about immigration or the economy, but they asked him a question that should have been a layup for him. And he was still like, can I address the rallies for a second? Which, as a fellow entertainer, I understand. If someone had said that to me, I would have also been like, hey, listen, let me explain, all right? It was a Friday late show. They were tired, okay? You can't put that on me. And he said, can I address the rallies real quick? Because people don't go to her rallies, all right? They don't go to her rallies at all. The people that go to her rallies, she got to bust them in, and then they don't even have fun while they're there. She doesn't have any snacks. Now I'm paraphrasing, but like... But he did. He hit back with like rallies. They asked him underhanded. Should have knocked it out of the park, and he got distracted by rallies and crowd size and things that make sense as a priority if you're an entertainer. But if you're about to be the leader of the free world, they shouldn't matter as much. You know? And you could see him kind of spiraling after that because he was a little frustrated by like this thing that broke through. Then that never happens. Trump is a very hard person to debate because people like him are very hard to debate because they're not trying to have a debate with you. They're trying to make you look dumb. And because Trump is like very good at making other people look dumb, he's very good at debating. You see what I mean? But this was the first time that he was like, what is she talking about? My crowd? And so, you know, he had a bit of a spiral. And before you know it, he was like, look, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the dogs, they're eating cats, they're eating, and you could tell in that moment that Trump wanted to say another animal, but he couldn't think of one. Because he says pets, but pets is off rhythm. If you go back and watch, it's like they're eating the dogs, they're eating cats, they're eating... And you can see for a split second the wheels turn of, he's like trying to think of, they're eating the bird. No, we all eat birds. They're eating the pets. You know? And then, you know, Kamala does a thing, and it's a thing that we've done when we've been watching debates, when we've been watching rallies, when we've been watching them on the news. She does a thing that we've done before, that a lot of other politicians have not done on stage with Trump. She laughed at him. And I think there's context to that laugh, because I'm not trying to get too, like, I don't know, like too much of a deep dive into it, but like there's context with that laugh, because she's not laughing at him, she's laughing at what he said. And that's really different. It's one thing to say Trump is a joke and Trump is a joke, and you could make the argument that the reason Trump became president was because Obama made him a joke. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? Obama made fun of this man and he just sat there quiet, you know? And then years later he was like, peaceful transition of power, huh? There's a big difference between laughing at Trump and laughing at what he said. You can think that Trump is a joke all you want, but he laughed his way to the presidency. Right. But then when you laugh at what he says, when you take the power out of what he's saying, that's a very different thing. You know? She laughed at what he said for a second. And then there was a second, it was very slight, but there was a second where she was still smiling, but she wasn't laughing. And then there was a second where she wasn't smiling and she wasn't laughing, and it was reminiscent of like, yo. Yo. No, wait, yo. You know? And that's my thing, is I'm like, I look at that, I'm like, wow, that's different, you know? It was very, very different. And the thing I've noticed in both these debates is that they're not even about who did well. They're just about who did the least poorly. That's what we get stuck on. Like, it wasn't even, last debate wasn't even about Trump performing well, it was about Biden crashing out. And then this debate wasn't as much about Kamala winning as much as Trump, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cat. They're eating flamingos. They're eating the pets. No. And it was the first time in all the times that he's debated that Trump looked 78. Because he's 78. And he's got a lot of energy, so we let a lot of those years slide. We don't feel like he's 78. You know what I mean? Like I've known grandpas like Trump. I've known grandpas that were like, oh, he's got so much energy and he's so spry. And he's eating a lot of fast food. But he's 78. You know what I mean? But I guess this is one of my main things about it, is that like, it was the first time I saw him look out of his element on like a really important moment. You know? And I don't want people to think that this is like, that's it. That's all that needed. Not at all. It's harrowing how little it actually moves the needle. Almost everyone feels the way they felt before, even after we saw what we saw. And we agree that it didn't go well for one person. But we're still like, nah, I'm still gonna go the way I was gonna go. That's interesting, you know, that after all of this, they're like tied. Wow, they're tied. In lots of places, they're tied. It's not even like it's working out to be a tie because all this place and all this. No, in a lot of places, they watched that and they were like, I don't know. That's pretty wild, you know? The first time he really looked 78, because it was the first time he said something that like a grandpa would say right before you put him in a home. You know what I mean? Because be honest, if you let a lot of stuff slide as like a child or grandchild, and then grandpa been living by himself, but if one day out of nowhere, and you haven't seen where he saw this on the internet, he just walks up and he's like, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cat. You're like, okay, that's the last straw. I let you put the remote in the mailbox several times. But this is the one that I can't abide. This is, because it really has consequence. And I think that we live well enough here, even though I'm not even pretending things are just phenomenal. I'm just saying, day to day, by and large, we do get by. And I think that when you get by, especially comfortably, it can feel like a game. You know, it can feel like something that doesn't matter as much. You know, and it can feel like something that you're just playing at. And I think that, you know, it's important to remember that all the things that these people say, these are very powerful people already, and one of them is going to become even more powerful. Everything that they say, everything they do has ripple effects. You know, they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. It's like a meme. It's like a thing that's starting up. But it's also, which is very, very important, because we did a thing back in 2014, and we've done it ever since, that I don't know how to fix it. I'm just saying what happened from 2014 on. Anyone online that was even all the way from like crazy people down to people who were slightly conservative, right? From 2014 on, were just called Nazis outright, right? Anything, and even a question, oh, you Nazi, right? To the point where Nazi started to not mean anything. And when it doesn't mean anything, it's hard to make it mean something when like an actual Nazi shows up, right? And I want to be clear here. The thing that Trump said, it is a lie started by a neo-Nazi. I don't care how many people on Twitter try to find something to make it make sense after the fact. It's a thing that a guy said at a community meeting where he was specifically targeting the Haitian community, and he said that we will not be safe the more Haitians we let into it. That's also the other part of the soundbite. Outside of the dogs and cats, this dude was specifically saying, and he gets kicked out of the community meeting. That part also didn't make it into the viral clip, right? And so when people are saying, well, I saw, and they have these fourth-hand accounts of like my brother's, sister's, uncle's girlfriend has a cat that's missing. And they try to put stuff together. There's even a video going around of some people cooking a cat that's from a year ago and not in Springfield, and then that became like evidence. There's another picture of a guy that was walking with 2 geese that they said he was on his way to go cook, when actually it was found out that this dude was pulling these geese away from a car accident where they got hit, and that he's probably not Haitian. But even so, death threats, bomb threats, all of this horrible, horrific stuff has been happening to the Haitian community to the point where apparently, maybe this isn't true, but apparently even the person in the Facebook group that first posted about, oh, my niece's cat is missing, and thinking, she has even come out and been like, I never meant for it to turn into this. That was just a Facebook post. Maybe she was having a goof with her friends. She didn't think it would come out of the mouth of the former president in a debate where he was flailing. So all these things have real consequences. It's not a game, and we are not chess pieces, you know? And even after the debate, you know, it almost like hijacked the whole narrative of Trump losing the debate and Kamala winning it. Now it became about this weird thing with hate. And it's also already, in that little bit of time since the debate, switched into Africans, because now they were just like, oh, wait, we got it wrong. It's not Haitians, it's Africans that are eating the dogs and cats. And so now it's already shifted just to try to find some truth out of a thing that was a lie, right? And you have J.D. Vance afterwards, who, you know, pretty much probably fed that to Trump. And he's sitting there talking to Collins in an interview, talking about, okay, whether we find out that this is somewhat true or only a little bit true, was not willing to call it a lie, right? He says that, you know, we don't have evidence. This is me paraphrasing just for the sake of brevity, but basically we don't have evidence that there's no evidence. And the thing that is like so brain broken about that logic is that it creates like a tidal wave of insanity until you can finally make something that you want to be true, right? Because it could ruin anybody's life. For instance, when you look at J.D. Vance, there is no evidence that there's no evidence that he didn't bang a couch. Do you see? Like, do you see how that's an unending thing? How it could ruin your life and never go away? How you can't even sit anymore? Because people see you next to a love seat and wonder? Do you see how insane that is? A lie that we know is a lie? But we'll work our way to figure out how we can make it true, you know? So just please, I mean, look, we watched the debate, and it was everything from a little bit boring at times to thrilling. We shouldn't even be debating like this anymore, to be honest with you. We've ruined the debate. The debate is too much like a chess game now, where it's like 90 seconds, 90 seconds, make your move, make your move. That's not how you solve problems. When you go back before debates were televised, the people that showed up were willing to be there for hours. And the candidates had a long time to lay out their position. So there actually wasn't as much of a chance to fully dodge questions, because they were like, what are you going to do about immigration? And you have until you figure it out. But when it's 90 seconds, you can be like, what are you going to do about immigration? Well, I believe is time up yet? No. They used to take forever because that's as long as it takes to figure out a problem. And it's as long as it takes to figure out what someone's real piece on something is, you know? If you could figure out big problems in 90 seconds, we probably wouldn't have any, you know? So just watching this thing of like, and then, it feels crazy. It makes me feel crazy because I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna work. They're not gonna make us feel like they have a plan in 90 seconds, you know? And there's too much of an opportunity to get derailed, you know? There was one point where it felt like maybe the only time in the debate where Kamala seemed a little angry. There was only one point, and I don't even remember exactly what led up to it, but she basically was talking about how Trump, which I forgot this happened, because when you live in like a 24-hour, 36-hour news cycle, everything is just sort of going, and there's no time to latch on to anything that matters, and there's no time for like real nuance of an issue. You're just going and going and going. But he did invite the Taliban to Camp David. And I remember when that happened being like, aren't they not supposed to be? The Taliban. Okay. And I remember that moment distinctly because out of nowhere, Kamala turned to Trump and said, this. And you can tell she's trying to find a word that won't get bleeped. And I know it because she had to reset. She actually closed her eyes for a second. This. Once again, as someone who was raised by black women, anytime my mama looked at me and went, you. In her mind, she killed me. You know, in her mind, my life flashed before her eyes. She would come back. This former president. All right, that one will work. You know, she pointed out something that we all saw. We just didn't seem to remember. Maybe it wasn't that big of a deal at the time, you know. It's important to remember that we're not like just playing teams. It feels very much like teams, which I think is why so many people are like dug in, and no matter what happens, they're like, I'm not switching teams, but this is not a game, and we're not chess pieces. You know, it's very important. You register to vote. It's very important that you go vote and everything, because it's not going to be won by memes. You know, you can't like internet your way to fixing everything. You know, because I don't know. I don't know how everyone in this room feels or anyone watching feels. I just know that like I just want to feel comfortable with who is representing me out in the world and in front of the country. I want someone who is willing to maybe move a little bit like I would move. Maybe play chess the way I play chess. And I'm not even good at chess. You know? I just, you know, we all, everyone, no matter where you fall on party lines or anything, everybody wants somebody with a plan. And they asked them. asked him, you want to repeal and replace Obamacare, and you say that you have a plan. We're asking right now, what is your plan and how would you enact it? And he didn't answer the first time. But when they asked again, they were like, after 9 years, what is your plan to repeal and replace Obamacare? Because I need to be clear here that, like, if something is a good idea, a really good idea, I don't care what party it comes from. If something is a smart idea, because I am not playing teams, because I don't feel like this is a game. This feels very real. The things that get said in a presidential debate that are funny, that are a joke for a little while, lead to death threats and bomb threats in real life. All of this is real. So if somebody has a plan and it's a good plan, not only will I hear it out, I might even help them try to make it happen, because it helps a lot of people and it gets us somewhere, right? And so they asked him, after 9 years trying to repeal and replace Obamacare, what is your plan? And he was like, look, I have concepts of a plan. I'm starting to feel like if he had repealed and replaced Obamacare back when he was president, not only would we not have health care, but I'm pretty sure our doctors would shoot us. I don't know if y'all saw where Walmart had to issue a recall in several states because their Great Value, which is the name of the brand that Walmart makes, their Great Value shrimp was found to have radioactive isotopes in it. Whatever happened to, like, regular nasty? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You ever had a chip before and been like, this chip a little stale? When we were growing up, the chips would be stale. The date will have expired. They didn't rotate the inventory. And so now you weren't looking either, so then you bought it, you brought it home, you dipped it into the sauce, the knockoff sauce. And then you went to take a bite, and then nothing, the bite was not bitten. The chip was so strong, you just scraped back sauce straight into your mouth. Because the chip was powerful, the chip petrified, because it's been stale. And you're like, maybe that was a fluke, you know? All these chips in the bag, different ages, shapes, and sizes. So let me try another chip. And then, because you don't want to chip a tooth, you decide to break this one with your fingers. And you can't, because the entire bag is stale. Remember stale? I never thought I would miss regular stale. Now, food here in America is radioactive. I'm not gonna act like I know why it's radioactive. I don't know why it's radioactive. But it's radioactive because they say it's radioactive. I'm not gonna blame it on the shrimp. What were we doing near the shrimp that was radioactive? We act like radioactivity is like easy to come by. It's not. You know, there's obviously radio waves everywhere. You use a radio, you know, you use a microwave and so, but real radioactivity that sticks with you. And that's the thing too, is that these suppliers, they supply all these different stores, and sometimes by the time it gets to you, it's just a different label that's put on it. But it's from the same place, and it's the same people doing the same stuff. And Walmart's, you know, brand is Great Value. And I'm not gonna lie to you, this may make me sound pretty bougie, but I don't really like the, like, store's brand. I don't know, I just don't believe them. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, no, I don't think you do this well.
It's like when you go to a diner and it's like got 96 pages on the menu, but it's not a Cheesecake Factory, so you're like, nah, only one establishment so far has been able to pull off this many pages. There's no way y'all have that much in the back. It's not possible. I drove around to park. I know that the kitchen can't be that big. How you gonna have lobster and quesadillas and you got burgers and fries, but you also have tres leches, but then you also have pad thai? Like, at a certain point, y'all just making stuff up back there. Like, got sticky rice, sushi rice, white rice, brown rice, mango sticky rice, paella. Like, either the chef back there is the most talented individual that has ever lived. Either something is going on right now and we're all a part of someone's YouTube prank show, and Gordon Ramsay is back there just waiting for us to tear up our stomachs by ordering things that aren't even on the same page. When you go to a diner like that, by the way, stick to one page. Because whatever you get, I treat diner food and diner food with lots of variety. Because you know when they go back there and you order the lobster pasta, they got one lobster. Like, they about to have to scratch out that thing on the menu. But I feel like if you stick to one page, it's a lot like sticking to one type of alcohol. If you go full breakfast with it, you're gonna get a regular amount of sick. Hear me out, because all across America, you got these diners that got 87 pages to them, and then you're like, oh, it's too many choices, what do I do? One thing. You find one lane and you drive down it. Do you understand me? I don't want to see you go French toast and pad see ew. Y'all laughing, but people are out here wild. I went to a diner with some friends, one of these diners I'm telling you about, and it had, so on their menu, I'm not exaggerating, on their menu, they had 26 pages with pictures. Now, the pictures were obviously stolen from online. They did not take any of these pictures. They hit Google Images and they printed it out and they put it next to the ... lobster pasta, right? And the other thing that, look, this is an aside thing, this actually has nothing to do with anything, but also on the menu, they had numbered everything. Like, they had numbered every order. Like, you know, like when you go to like a restaurant and they'll have the traditional pronunciation of the dish and then they have the number. They did that, but everything was in English. And so you could just order 102 and a number 5 together. And it's like, that sounds like it'll tear up your stomach just as much as saying, can I have the Tom Kha? Can I have the Tom Kha and the baby back ribs? But my friend was over here like, oh, it's too many choices. You can do so much. You could do barbecue. You could do Chinese. You could do, this is amazing. And I was like, no, it's the only thing open. And I warned him. I was like, you need to pick one. I'm telling you right now, you better pick one. Okay? One page. Go right down that page, because I bet you they do that page very well. I bet you if you pick a lane in this diner right now and you're like, hey, the whole table, we just gonna do Mexican food. We're gonna get some tacos, quesadillas. You already got the meat back there, just chop it up. You know what I mean? I think it'll be fine. But if you start hitting them with the around the world special, which is what one of the pages was called, I think they're going to give you the food. I think you're going to enjoy it. I also think you're going to get an otherworldly type of sick. But no, he knew better. He didn't listen to me. This man got baby back ribs, spaghetti and meatballs, spaghetti and meatballs and a matzo ball soup. Now, you know how they say that sometimes when you're driving down the highway, there's like a natural instinct to watch the wreckage of a car accident as you pass by. That was every plate they brought to him. I kept watching him this man was taking bites of baby back ribs and then sips of soup and everything. And I was like, I don't know how you feel like this is a good idea. I got 3 scrambled eggs. And I made sure to order before he could finish ordering, because I was like, keep me separate from him. I know that a bunch of sauce is going to be sloshing together. And sure enough, we leave, we get in the car, we drive for an hour. And then out of nowhere, we hear our friend who's driving go, ooh. This is why I got so mad, because I knew we had 4 more hours of driving to do, and I knew for a fact that his bad decisions would affect me. I didn't know when, I didn't know exactly how, but I knew this would happen. So he goes, ooh. And it was low, it was quiet, it was to himself, but it did cut through the music. Go, oh, And so then, look, I try not to be that friend. I try not to be the I told you so person, but I go, what? What is it? And he's like, oof, I knew he was in a bad way. He didn't want to answer me because he knew it was going to be an I told you so moment, because I did tell him so, and then I watched him eat for 42 minutes. I watched him eat stuff that I know had to be old. When do people get baby back ribs at this abandoned diner? I'm sure the cook in the back was like, what does he want? Ask him, is he sure? Ask him, is he sure? You're not gonna put somebody's death on me. I'm not gonna catch a body. He's sitting there, ooh. And I'm like, what? And he doesn't want to answer me. But I knew he was hot. I knew this is how bad off he was. Any cuisine that you eat, anything that you eat, especially when you eat a lot of it, especially when it is good, when you got something authentic, or you just got something that was seasoned right, and you eat too much of it, it has a different impression on you. It always does. Different impression. You get some good barbecue, but you eat a little bit too much of it, you get those meat sweats. You don't even know what's happening. Meat sweats are the closest I think they're the closest it'll ever come to a hot flash, because they don't even know what's happening to their body. They're just like, You ever be so hot that you blinking extra? Like all the cool air is over there. If you could just see it clearly, it would cool you down. You ever get so hot you sweat in your own eye? And then, there's other foods that just sit heavy. You eat too much of them and they let you know, hey, will never leave you. And then there's some foods that, because of the cuisine, there's a little bit extra spice in it, makes your throat a little hot, makes you burp, and just gives you a little heartburn if you overdo it. He had all three. This man was sitting there with a hot rock in his stomach. You know those stoves they put on people when they do the massage or they warm it up? He had three of those in his stomach, just holding it. Ooh, and I could tell this man started breathing heavy and everything. And when he brought the window down, I knew he was in trouble. I turned to our friends in the back. I was like, hey, somebody else gonna need a drive soon. Over here sweating hard, blinking hard. And I'm literally almost been knocked out. Out of concern for my friend, I've almost been knocked out of I told you so, but not yet. I go, what? And he goes, I think I'm gonna wreck the car. What an insane jump. He doesn't go, I need to stop, let me pull over, I don't feel so good. This man ate off so many menus, he's like, I'm gonna kill all of y'all. I'm gonna flip this car as hard as I can until it lands right side up. And everybody in it dead. And then this man did something that to this day I have not forgiven him for. You've had it happen to you. We've all, every one of us, fallen prey to an act that, while human, needs to be corrected beyond measure. If violence were to break out after this action, I don't know if I could hold the party responsible. Because this man who just said he's about to wreck the car leaned his head out the window, tried to get some cool air on his face, and when he leaned out the window, he thought he was slick. He wasn't sick. When he leaned out the window, he went. Just from the hip placement, you know what's happening. Just from this right here. Just that little pivot. Like a dog. Like a dog near a tree. This man leans over. You know what's terrifying? You know what shook me to my core? I heard nothing. I didn't hear a sound. Genuinely, when I didn't hear anything, I thought I couldn't hear. Literally, the way that this man cocked his hip, and then I heard imagine if you saw a nuclear explosion, but then there was no boom after you, like, I guess I'm already gone then? I must have died so fast I didn't notice. This must be how they make ghosts. This man cocked his hip. I heard nothing. I heard nothing at all until I heard my friend in the back go, "Oh!" not gonna act like I know how, there's a difference in the air in the car because he's opened the window and the air conditioner was blowing. It was all blown on him. He was very hot. But I'm not gonna act like I understand why what happened went backwards first. All I know is I hear my friend go, "Oh!" and then my buddy next to him goes, like when you begin to choke. You know, like right before somebody need that Heimlich, before they're like I don't know why. It went backwards first. All I know is that when it hit me, my first instinct was to scream. But I held back. I held back because screaming would open my mouth. So I went like a silent movie at a 1920s sanitarium, all right? And I'm fighting to find the button for the window. I can't find it because not only am I trying to lean away, I have closed my eyes because they started to burn. And so I'm palming the door and I'm like, I palm the door and I don't find the button to lower the window, but I do bang my head against the glass like Night at the Roxbury. And finally I feel something, and out of desperation, I just flick it, and that opens the door. The door is open and I'm leaning out, holding the door like. And I feel like, look, I'm wearing my seatbelt. You gotta wear your seatbelt, but I do feel like I've already fallen out of the car because the sound of my friend screaming is getting fainter. It started out, oh, and now is, oh. We in the same car, why he getting further away? And then our friend driving both saved and ruined my life because he pulled me back. I slammed the door and now we're all just inside. With him. And I gotta be honest with you, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, when he pulled me back in, I wished he had just flipped the car. I wish he had just wrecked the whole thing. But yeah, it's just, you already do your best when it comes to food. You already eat what you think is healthy, you already try. And so when you've got these programs that make sure that the food is good and you end up with great value radioactive shrimp. It's absolutely unacceptable. All I'm saying is, I don't always trust the brand that the store has, because I'm like, y'all don't do this too. There's no way. I believe you do napkins, CVS. I believe y'all's napkin game is probably, y'all got the same printer and everything. Y'all got the same little bumps on the napkin. I'm with you. Once it gets to soups, I think that y'all are just guessing. If I go into Walgreens, already I'm there for drugs. I'm there because my nose is running or something like that, or I just want a bottle of water. The idea that Walgreens specifically is like, we make pasta too. Do you though? Like, it's just... That's always been unsettling, that like a place that's not, like this is just me, maybe I'm being bougie, but I want my sauce to come from a place that's like, we make sauce. That's like our whole thing. We love, as Ragu, we love making sauce. We don't like anything solid around. So then when you go to a store and you see next to the Ragu is either your local store or this chain being like, we make sauce too, and it's just like that sauce. It's like, I know that it's cheaper, and I know I'm gonna buy it because it's cheaper, but I'm gonna think about how it's not Ragu while I'm eating it. I used to work at a store that, this was an insane experience, but I worked at a store where we didn't know what would, like, we knew what we sold as a base, but then there would be deals that would come in, and I don't know who was doing these deals, like, out in the world, but then we'd get a whole shipment of stuff we had to try to sell until it was gone, hopefully. There's no way to run a business, but I remember there was one week we just got a whole shipment of fire extinguishers. And to be fair, a lot of people don't have a fire extinguisher, and a lot of people live in conditions where they should absolutely have a fire extinguisher. Sure, I'm with you there, right? But these fire extinguishers were the size of like a big gulp. You know what I mean? Like these were like mini fire extinguishers that I don't even think could put out a hot shower. We also had to sell, this one time, we just got toilet seats. And it occurred to me at one point, I was like, who shops here? Like sometimes I'd see customers in there and I'm like, you just know you need stuff and then you hope stuff is out there. Like, the idea that we got a shipment of toilet seats off of nothing, and then someone came in and was like, that's just what I did. It's like that, it does make you believe in like the law of attraction, I suppose, but like, it doesn't seem like a great business model. One of the wildest things we sold at that store was condoms. But they were like store brand condoms. Do you know how much you're taking your lives into your hands? We've established condoms. You don't need a great value condom. A great value condom is how you end up with another great value customer. All right. No, it's insane. And then when you have these radioactive shrimp, right? I'm talking about it like I'm familiar, but when you have radioactive shrimp, what the stores will do is they'll obviously pull everything off the shelf, and then they will go ahead and put up a note, usually on the cash register. That way they've already pulled their inventory, but if anybody bought some last week, yesterday, whatever, they could read that. It helps spread the word, you know? And then one precaution that a lot of places take is they will print out the SKU, which is like that universal number for the product, a picture of the product, and then a little paragraph explanation of what happened. And then sometimes, depending on the store, they will put that at the cashier's register so that people can read it while they're checking out. So that way, if they already bought the shrimp and took it home, they'll know to throw it away. Because the paragraph will say something to the effect of like, if you bought our product, you know, whatever, radioactive shrimp, and you have it at home right now, please throw it away, because we found that this product was not up to our quality standard. We apologize that it was ever on the shelf, and that it is radioactive. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and being a loyal customer. But that paragraph doesn't have the urgency that goes along with radioactive shrimp. Even the announcement, even the news didn't have the correct... It's radioactive shrimp. They didn't have the correct response for radioactive shrimp. To me, maybe I'm crazy. I need somebody to be walking up and down the aisle. The shrimp radioactive. Like, you need someone with some urgency. This printout is not doing it. And they know what they're doing, because the toner, like the ink on the printer not even good, so you barely see the image, and then the letters are faded, so you're trying to read it, and it's like a whisper. It's like reading a whisper in real time, where they're like, hey, someone put the shrimp. It's radioactive. I said so it's just... No. We have so many people in this country looking for work, unemployed. Hire someone to be the person who announces what's been recalled. Walking up and down the store. I hope you didn't get the shrimp last week, because the shrimp radioactive. You can hear that shrimp. That shrimp go... Oh, watch out, the shrimp is... I had one. I ate one just to make sure, and one of my eyes turned blue. No, you gotta get up in there. You gotta do something more than just a printout that I'm probably not gonna see, because admittedly, I'm looking at the Skittles. You need a person in there walking up and down the aisle. You might even ask for an item that's been recalled because you didn't hear the news. Sometimes that happens with vegetables even. Sometimes the spinach or the romaine will get recalled just because of what they've been exposed to. And you need a person to be walking up and down the produce aisle like, sorry, we don't have the spinach. It had that E. coli. It has... What's the E for? He had E. coli all over him, so we had to send him back. Perhaps you'll enjoy some arugula. They don't just scream, they're also helpful. I don't like to think of myself as a bigot, but when it comes to milk, I am pretty intolerant. I have a problem with milk being in my things. If I even hear milk is in a dish, I'm like, get them out of here. Sometimes there'll be milk and stuff that milk isn't normally in, and that's when I sound bad. I'm like, they not even supposed to be here. They as in the cultures in the milk. watching this thing happen. They say that they're going to make America healthy again, but then they're like, oh, but you could just do a bunch of wild stuff you weren't doing before that definitely runs the risk of making you sick. Do you ever be? There are people that are like, I want to drink my raw milk. Why can't I drink my raw milk? And it's like, okay. If just you drink the milk, I think that's fine. Genuinely, if somebody wants to drink raw milk and they drinking raw milk and they're like, dude, this is what I want, like that to me is not bad. That to me is how it should be. You want the raw milk, you drink that. It's when we normalize the buying and selling of raw milk that we start to spread the power of raw milk to tear up your life. You think you lactose intolerant, get some of that raw milk in you. That raw milk will get in your stomach and be like, this is nice, yeah. It'd be like Van Halen in a hotel room, you know what I mean? Now you sitting there. Everybody told you not to drink the raw milk. They told you couldn't handle it. You're like, I'm going to handle it. Natural is the best way. I'm going to have my raw milk. And then 30 minutes later, oh. I'm sitting next to you. What? But truly, I think we don't put ourselves enough in the position of what it's like to take one of those products home that's been recalled, and maybe you don't watch the news, maybe you didn't get the notification on your phone, maybe you're trying to unplug because most news is pretty bad and the notifications on your phone keep you on your phone, which is not a happy place because of how you use your phone and how the systems on your phone affect you, how the platforms, whether it's social or it's just the way that you lose attention to anything that you're doing for the phone, and so you try to disconnect, and then you go to Walmart again and you don't happen to see the printed out paper that is very, very faint. I'm not a scientist, but I imagine that if you put radioactive shrimp in the microwave, you're about to turn your kitchen into a science experiment. You over there cooking the shrimp in the microwave, just looking at the door. Anytime, I don't know what it is about us, but and then maybe I'm the only one that's experienced this, but I've known 3 different microwaves to catch on fire, and in all 3 scenarios, the person who owned that microwave, who was making something, was looking through the door like, is that fire or is that just how it cook? Yes, all 3 were dudes, yes. And so, in that case, all 3 dudes were like, I don't know, you know, when you pop popcorn, the bag get big, I don't know. Maybe this chicken sandwich supposed to be on fire. It's like, no, it's not. It's not. You put a Chick-fil-A sandwich still in the foil right into the microwave. And so, yes, your sandwich is on fire, but that's not part of the process. You should probably open the door, put that out. Use the tongs. Don't use your hand. You know what I mean? And so now you microwaved your shrimp. You're staring at the door. Why are they floating? look, I don't know anything about radioactive shrimp, but I imagine a radioactive shrimp at least has the possibility of waking up. Imagine, you're a shrimp. You go on about your business, minding your own business, and then you get caught by some people from above. And somewhere along the line in your life, while you were down there in the water, or after you've been caught, you came across some radioactive material, not a usual part of the process. And then you end up at a facility where they bag you up with your brethren. They put great value on the bag. They send it to a local Walmart, and then you lay there in the bag. Somebody grabs the bag, somebody scans the bag, somebody bags the bag. They take you home. They open the bag into a bowl. They wash you off real quick like that's gonna do something. Everything wrong with you is on the inside. And then they throw you in the microwave because they can't cook. And you laying there. And then someone hits 3 minutes, which is too long. And you feel yourself. You open your eyes and you see a big old face. A big old face going. Is this supposed to be floating? You can't really make it out. You don't speak English or a shrimp, but someone finally has the wherewithal to press the open button on the microwave, and you fall back, and then you stand up. You stand up and walk out of the bowl. Nobody stops you. They're too busy running around screaming and praying. But something's happening. Something you've never experienced before. You're just used to swimming and crawling. But now something's happening. You have an awareness of yourself. You don't know how, you don't know why, but then you start to, out of nowhere, have the word for it. What's the word for it? You've never had this before. What's the word for it? But you start to have these thoughts. You're out here really thinking. You're thinking about your entire life. What happened to you? That radioactive material you came across. And now, you decide, you know what? I'm gonna go out on my own. I'm gonna head for the door. And these great value customers are more than willing to let you leave. And you go out into the world. You start to see, hear everything. You might even have some awareness of things that you haven't even come in contact with. Maybe it's super hearing, maybe it's telekinesis, who knows? And you come across a newspaper. You read a newspaper. And you're terrified. Because with only having, an hour's worth of knowledge and understanding, you can tell that things are bad. Things are not ideal in the world. You don't know what to do about it exactly, but you end up reading an article that's of a lot of importance to you because it's about you. It's about how there are radioactive shrimp at Walmart, and you're like, that's me. What should we do about this? I know what I'll do. I'll go to Washington. Because this little bit of life that I've been given, it's important that I use it for a purpose. It's important that I do something with it. The whole purpose of life is to not just be a witness, but be a connection to another life. And so I want to connect to all these lives I'm coming in contact with. I got to dodge a lot of feet to get there, but it's okay. And so you go to Washington and you decide to go to what you potentially feel is the source of the problem. People have been loosening regulations. People have been lobbying the Food and Drug Administration. They've been gutting the EPA. They've been gutting every safeguard that the people have to be able to eat food that's not radioactive. And so, for whatever reason, you decide you're on the side of the people, and so you go to a house, one specific house, and you crawl into a bowl, one singular bowl, and you let yourself be eaten by the head of Health and Human Services. And let's be clear, he notices you glowing, but and it was a sacrifice that you made, and it's a sacrifice that was very gross. There was a lot of roadkill on the plate. Then you climbed onto a bed of rice in the bowl, and then, you get slurped down, and now you're down there in RFK Jr.'s stomach. And you're surrounded by something. You don't know what it is, but after a while, because of all of this knowledge you've absorbed over your short lifetime, you realize, raw milk. Ugh. And then you let yourself fall away. And it was all worth it because RFK Jr. is over here sitting at a press conference talking about how we're going to introduce more raw milk into the U.S. or, going to make sure every kid eats roadkill for breakfast or something. I don't know. I don't know what the next initiative is, but while he's sitting there, RFK Jr. goes, whew. my stomach hurts. It was the best you could do.